Okay, so here we're going to look at a factually, objectively incorrect line by Imperfect Cell. I'm pretty sure this is in the Japanese too, because the images they're showing in the animation would reflect that. He mentioned something here about Trunks that cannot possibly be true, because listen to what he says. Why Trunks' cells weren't taken.
That's right. When I get my hands on... Goku's were not the last cells I would inherit, however. In a most fortunate turn of events, Frieza paid a brief visit to Earth, and although it seemed that he was mostly machine at the time, it was possible to extract a few of his remaining cells before he finally met his end at the hands of Trunks.
Now think about that line. That makes no sense, because Trunks is only in our current timeline that we're watching in the show, not the one that this cell came from. In the one that this cell came from, Trunks would have been a baby, and either Jiro wouldn't have gotten his cells or wouldn't have known about him or whatever, right? There wouldn't have been this encounter. The way they try to explain it, I guess, in retcon is, oh, Goku came and used instant transmission and killed Frieza there to save the Earth or something like that. It couldn't have been Trunks, because that would have meant that in this cell's timeline that he came from, right? This is not the current cell, because the current cell is still in a test tube and, is destroyed, right, in this current timeline. So this is an objective mistake of the writing of the story. They're acting like, oh, remember how we just saw Frieza get killed by Trunks? So we're referring to that moment, but that moment didn't happen in the timeline that this cell came from. And so he's saying, oh, it was possible to get some of Frieza's cells. Okay, Frieza still came to Earth, maybe was killed by Goku or some other way, but Trunks didn't kill Frieza in that timeline. And the reason why is because that would have meant that in this other timeline that cell came from, there was another adult Trunks who had used a time machine to come to that timeline and kill Frieza. But guess what he would have done then? He would have warned the Z Fighters like he does. He would have given them the antidote so Goku wouldn't have died from the virus. He would have warned them about the existence of Cell, so Cell couldn't have existed then. They would have destroyed his lab, and then he would have never grown up to his full state, right? Because think about it, at this state in time where Frieza exists, you're saying that, oh, you're adding Frieza's cells to the test tube that has Cell in it. So Cell is not fully grown yet, and it's going to take a very long time until this baby Trunks is basically older, right? So that's a major contradiction. It would have had to have been a timeline in which Trunks kills Frieza, and Jiro adds Frieza's cells to Cell, but then in that same timeline, Trunks is going to tell them, oh, by the way, the androids are coming and there's Cell, and let's go destroy the lab. And so Cell could not have existed in a timeline in which future Trunks comes back and warns everybody about it and kills Frieza, right? That makes no sense. That event could not have happened because, again, if another future Trunks came back to the timeline that this Cell came from, right, in his time machine, then that Trunks would have warned the Z Fighters about the androids, would have told them about Cell and destroyed him. And so that Cell could have never come into being and grown fully out of the test tube, because they destroy the chamber, they destroy him, they know about the androids, they would have destroyed them, everything would have been fine, they would have been prepared. And so then this Cell could not have then come back in time itself